Comments?
So if the buyer says, I'm not going to pay you, I'm telling you right now, I won't pay you.
Yeah.
You need to just go after the seller.
Uh-huh.
And the seller said, I'm not paying. You just work for.
So hold that thought for a second.
I think that the main thing is that, the main thing behind the lawsuit was that our buyers need to feel like they're in control, right? And that it's transparent. So, like if we're going after, having this discussion with them, they need to know where that money's coming from. And then going back to our certification, our training, we owe them obedience, right? So we owe them clarity and obedience. So if they tell us that they don't want to see properties that aren't offering compensation, they need to clearly understand that, and that helps us, kind of narrow.
Okay, so a couple things here. I'm not willing to pay a commission, and I'm not willing to work with you under those circumstances, or I'm not willing to pay a commission, and I'll still work with you, but don't show me those properties. Yeah. All right, so there's a bunch. Let's role play this because there's lots of different variables here on how this all could unpack. Yeah. Okay, so.
Pick me.
Okay, hold on. So the structure. Let's make sure we're all on the same page here, right? The role play is going to be compensation. Okay, compensation. Okay, and full, half, none. Okay. And then we're going to get the objection. Okay. And there's going to be a few different objections. One of the objections could be,
Well, you always told me the seller pays your commission, so
so
it's still the same.
so
What happens when the seller doesn't pay my commission?
yeah, objection, doesn't pay. Okay, doesn't pay.
I don't have enough money to pay you.
Don't have enough money. Okay. Doesn't pay. Willing to work with you. Willing to work. Not willing to work. Am I getting this right? Two objections here, right? I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, so like, help me out. Okay, we've never done this before, right? Right, so doesn't pay, willing to work with you, doesn't pay, not willing to work with you. Those are two options, right?
Right.
Right, and then I can't pay. Doesn't pay, can't pay. All right, should we just focus on those, or was there others?
The other thing is that, like, because of that, I'm gonna go buy it myself. Without
That would be the result of.
That would be that would be the result of whatever comes from here. Because I don't want to pay, and I'm willing to work with you still, but I'm not willing to pay, or I'm not willing to pay and I don't want to work with you if I have to pay at all.
One more for
Did I?
compensation is that.
Huh?
One more for compensation. You have full, half, and none. But what if seller concessions is more than my commission? Like having the conversation that the excess goes to them. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's table that one. But it is one that we have to deal with, because if you put down 3 and you get 4, then you do have to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
You have to go back for that addendum. There was an addendum, right? You're gonna have to get that addendum signed, and then you're gonna have to have a first conversation that you should have had the first time, or you're gonna have to go have a second conversation that you had the first time. You with me? That's a real scenario. Okay, more compensation. Okay, let's jump in here.
Now you can add it on the buyer rep agreement. You can add it for the up to 7 or 8%. You can write it down.
Yeah, but then they also have to agree to that.
While you're signing on the paperwork, just write it out, let them agree.
Yeah.
When the first initial.
Okay.
It's hard to gonna do the addendum later.
Right.
Amendment later.
Yeah. Yeah, but getting somebody to sign at 7 or 8%, that's going to be an interesting hurdle to clear. All right, let's table that. All right, I don't want to pay any of your commission, but I'm still willing to work with you. Okay. Travis, right?
I'll go, yeah.
Travis, okay. So look, start with the pitch. All right, here's what could happen. and then let me object, and then you handle it. You handle it from there.
So you said, wait, you're going like doing, I'm starting with the pitch?
Yeah, the pitch is.
Oh, no fun. I wanted to give you the other person.
Oh, okay. No. No, I get to have all the fun. You are the ones who. Yeah. Okay. Who wants to give it a ring? Okay. Give me the pitch, and then I'll object.
Okay, so Paul, regarding compensation, one of three things is going to happen. Either the seller is going to pay my full commission. Secondly, they may pay partial commission, or they may be offering no commission at all, in which case we are going to have a conversation about how best to get that money, because I'm always going to go out and try to get the money first, attempt to get that money first before we have to have a conversation about the difference. Does that sound okay?
So am I going to owe that commission if they don't cover your commission?
So that's the second point that I made, or the third point. They may not pay the full commission, or they may not be paying any compensation at all. And we'll know that ahead of time before we ever go see a property, because I'm going to call ahead of time and figure out what they're offering so that we can have that discussion and you can choose what you want to do.
Okay.
Sound fair?
So am I going to be obligated to pay if they don't pay?
So again, we're gonna go after that money in other ways first. And if we can't get that money from those other strategies, then yes, you would be required to pay the difference in compensation that we're agreeing to today.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I just don't know that I'd be willing or wanting to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what if we found your dream house and that seller was not offering compensation to me, or they were offering partial compensation? Would you still want to go see that house?
Do you think you'd be able to work something out with them?
So it is possible that we could find that money in other ways. Would you like to hear about those other strategies now?
Sure. What yeah.
Okay, one of those strategies might be that we ask for concessions. So this is money that the seller pays towards closing costs, therefore saving you more money at closing that then you can redirect to my compensation. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, and the other way we could rescue that difference in compensation is to simply offer less money, right, for the property itself, therefore lowering your down payment, and that money could be used towards my compensation. So
Okay.
as you can see, there are creative other ways to pull from different money buckets to still solve this problem that's not directly taking the money as compensation.
Well, what if they don't pay any though?
If they don't pay any money at all.
Yeah, they're not offering anything.
Same strategy. We go out, we ask for concessions.
Okay.
They don't offer, they're not offering concessions. They're not agreeing to a lesser price. Then likely this deal is not going to move forward.
Okay. So if we can't get anything out of them, then and I'm not willing to pay, then we're stuck, and I wouldn't be able to move forward.
Yeah, we're stuck. You have to pay. You have to pay.
Okay. Okay. Look. This is first of all for Kim for being brave. That was very good. Especially for going first. So let's keep cooking it. All right, let's keep cooking it. First of all, any comments or questions or concerns on her role play before we move to another one?
I think we do a lot of storytelling, and I think that you are coming in very analytically. I think if you kind of dumb it down with stories, that helps out a lot, and I'm sure you would naturally do that. What I think about is kind of like when you go and you're watching somebody do like a presentation and you see like the first 5 slides and then it starts to all kind of blend together. I've experienced when people have conversations on these, they start getting stuff kind of mixed up, and so if you can separate it out with stories, it helps a lot more. When you're going to the grocery store or something that's a very mundane.
Sure. Stories always help out for sure. It's good. All right, other comments, questions on her role play? Jess?
This is more general, but what if you explain to them, hey, do you know how sellers were able to pay the buyer's commission the old ways? It's because they're getting that from the closing or the full amount they're getting, right? So
Yeah.
So one way we can compensate or get the compensation out of the from the seller is just offering a higher price.
Offer a little bit
Bake
more.
that into the contract or the offer, and then
Yeah,
get that.
because we can negotiate by asking for it, just straight up asking for it. We can negotiate by adding a little bit to compensate, because at the end of the day, the seller's bottom line is just, that's what's most important to them, right? It's the bottom line. They don't care about anything else.
It's not in place.
I know. I'm not even thinking about that. It's so simple, right? Which is why masterminding is so important, because like, exactly.
The seller's only interested in their nets. So if we can take money from other places,
Right.
but they net the same amount,
And
they don't ultimately care.
1% of 400,000 is $4,000. 2%, $8,000. I mean, we're not talking about appraisal busting stuff here.
Right.
Right? So is it possible? Possible. It's good. It's good. I like it. All right, this is good. This is good. All right, who's next? Oh, okay. So she used a tool that we worked on the last couple weeks. What if? Okay. So I want to explore mindset. I want to challenge beliefs. Ways to challenge beliefs. Start to ask the question, well, what if? And then she does some sort of propositional story she tells. Or how would you feel if, and then a risk. Or what would you think if, and then a reward. What are your thoughts about a risk? How would you feel if a reward? To open up new possibilities or options. Because I got to challenge this mindset, but I can't just say, you're stupid. You're going to have to, right, professionally and constructively, creatively, collaboratively move this conversation. All right.
I guess we really have to ask, like, if we take it down to the numbers, like you were talking about, right? So if you said, well, what if they're offering nothing and they won't agree to concessions and we're at a stalemate, right? Well, okay, let's look at your price point. You're shopping in the $800,000. You're pre-approved for $800,000. My standard is approximately $24,000, right? Yes. So where are we how would you feel, or what would you think about the situation where you would have to come up with that extra money? Is that something that you're able to, and willing to do?
Yeah.
So we can kind of feel them out.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. Okay. I need an agent. I need an agent. Not her. She didn't get it. All right.
I actually do have a question. So both of you said, I'm not going to stand in the way of your dream house because of compensation. But then at the end it was, we're stuck. And I'm not moving forward. So you actually did stand in the way of their dream
Yeah.
house.
Well, that was her role play.
Well,
Yeah.
no. And so I'm going to ask, like, maybe don't say that, or
Yeah.
how do you, because you're sugarcoating it up top.
Well,
but then when
so-
it comes down to it, you're really saying
Yeah, so remember I said, first of all, I haven't done any of these presentations. I've done 5 listing presentations in the last week and a half. I haven't done any buyer presentations in the last month.
Are all those sellers willing to pay?
All of those sellers are willing to pay. Yeah. And I think if you're a good listing agent, you'll get them to pay.
Yeah.
So, and I said at the beginning, the disclosure was, hey, I've been saying this, but I don't know if I really want to say this anymore, because I don't know. I'm playing through this all.
It really is. The answer is we don't work for free.
Right. And saying that could put you in a hole, get you stuck.
Yeah. I mean, it is. You have to say it with couth, but on the same hand, like, you can't still say I'm not going to stand in the way of your dream home.
Yeah.
But then you are. It's also like, okay, well then you're on your
Yeah.
own.
So then you don't say that, or I don't say that.
So question, on that conversation, is anybody else saying, I represent the broker? Your agreement is really with my office, with my broker. My broker is Helen Williams, and I am representing them. And this document is gonna help me represent you. I'll be able to speak on your behalf, connect you with people. This is why it's so important, because it protects you as a buyer,
Yeah.
protects me as your representative,
Yeah.
realtor, right? It protects the process.
I love it. Value, value, value. And we're still going to get the objection, right? Where like, I don't want to pay or I can't
I
pay.
feel like it lessens the blow, right? When you start off, like, hey, I'm going to show you now a document, and this is how how we work with buyers in Texas. Because the seller, we know, is represented, right? There's a sign on the front yard. The seller is represented. You as a buyer deserve the same opportunity to be represented, to be able to have somebody by your side to guide you, to protect you, to show you. So this document helps us do that.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Let's go can't pay on a role play. Can't play. Can't pay.
Gotta pay to play.
Got to pay to play. Can't pay.
Paul, what makes you feel that you can't pay?
Well, I don't have the money. You know, I have just enough for my down payment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I am kind of scraping pennies to make that happen.
I understand. Saving, I'm sure you work really hard for your money.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to just give it up.
Yeah, and this is my dream. I mean, we want our own house. We've been in an apartment for so long, but I only have $12,000, which, according to like all the numbers here, is just about what I need.
And I respect that because I've been in your shoes before. You know, when I first bought my home, or first home, my husband and I had to save money. We saw one house that we couldn't afford, so we had to change strategies and look for a different house. So I've been in your shoes before, and I know how important it is for you to take care of your money and also get the house that you so much desired. So I don't want you to get ahead of yourself. We don't know really how much your down payment is going to be right now. We haven't talked to the lender yet. We haven't even gotten to talk about what loan programs are available for you. So what if your loan allows you to not use all the money that you're thinking you're going to use?
I mean, if there was a way to make it work, I just don't want to commit to, saying that I'd be obligated to pay that amount when I don't have any more money to put towards it from me.
Right. Would you commit to saying, let's find out first what the real numbers look like? Because I feel like right now we've been walking in blind, assuming what the numbers are going to be. And I don't want you to assume, and I don't want to assume.
Okay, break script. So you go, okay, let's figure it out with the lender. I like that move. Okay, but what if I like it? Good job, Johanna. Okay. All right, but what if they don't got money? And what if it's not going to happen? You're not going to get any money out of them. Okay, transparently, one sec. Well, transparently, is there something that we could do in the contract to go, okay, well, I'll get the commission from the seller, and if I can't get the commission from the seller, then we're just not going to look at those properties.
That's what I was thinking.
How do I handle that?
Yeah.
There is something in there?
No, I thought we weren't allowed to
No,
do that.
there's
We have to let
nothing
them
in there.
choose.
Well, their choice would be, okay, well, I want to use you. If you can get the commission, cool. If you can't, I can't pay it.
Like he said, it's obedience. They tell us we can't not to show us those properties.
So the question would be that's technically you have the ability to do that in the agreement. False or true?
Yes. you do.
Okay.
It doesn't.
I don't know. That's why I'm saying I don't know.
Actually,
I don't know.
sorry.
It's
So-
unethical, right?
Huh?
It's unethical. That's putting our needs ahead of theirs.
But what? No. But what if they're like, I want to work with you?
Guys, so in the amendments that we had from Almanza before, that was in there. So, and it was something that they had to initial. Now with the new forms, that's where we have to have that conversation before and make sure that we're clearly communicating to our buyers that, if we reach a point where they cannot pay the commission, then that's fine. We don't have to work with them. And at which point, at that have to do that. But in the Almanza amendment, they did have a section saying that, at some point, you can continue on with this particular property that I showed you, but I no longer have to represent you.
That's fair. You could technically also put it in special provisions. The client agrees to not see properties as whatever, depending on how your conversation goes. If you want to be a dick.
Why are you shaking your head?
Because
We can't practice law.
Yeah, we can practice law.
That's not. That's just a statement.
So hold on. Time out. This is just a honest question because I don't know the answer.
My understanding is that we don't. It is literally, it's the choice of the buyer to say, I want to see house 1, 2, 3. I don't want to see house 4 and 5.
Right.
It is a choice. Just like the.
So you got your commission, and if you can get it, great. If not, then
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it.
And we had this in the mastermind with Gary, and we had the agents mastermind. It was a conversation because other states are already doing that. Before this new document, they were already doing that.
Yeah.
And it's part of their conversation.
So then, okay. So they can pay full, they can pay half, they might pay none, and then tie me up on whether they pay or don't pay How do you tie up? Where do you go with that and tie that up? How are you going to communicate that? They pay or they don't pay. They pay, or they don't see the properties.
You say that. You say, hey.
Give it to me.
Okay. You've expressed wanting to see 123 Baker Street.
No, we're in the presentation. We're in the presentation. We go, okay, here's the deal.
Okay, so if you present it like that in the future, right? So as we've discussed now, if you're worried about being able to pay for my compensation on a house that's not offering anything, here's how this would look in the future. So when you want to go see house 123 Baker Street, I call ahead and I say, hey, Mr. Agent, is your seller offering any sort of compensation to bring buyers to make this a persuasive offer? Because I have a client that's interested. The agent says, no, we're not interested in doing that right now. We're not doing that. So at that point in time, you and I will have a conversation. How much do you really like this house? Is it an 8, a 9, or a 10 on the list? And how does that compare in the lineup of the other houses that are offering compensation?
Yeah. So okay, we're almost there. We're not there yet, though. That was good, though. That was good. Yeah, so Mr. Seller, Mr. Buyer, so listen, they can pay full, they can pay half, they can pay none, and here's what we'll do on a case-by-case scenario, is if they're not offering compensation, then I'm gonna find out if there's an ability to negotiate that, but you're gonna have to decide whether you wanna go see that property or not, and that the potentially you may have to pay a commission if you want the house.
And then also, we can also offer to send the information of that listing to their lender, because by the time you're showing houses, you've already had multiple conversations with the lender, and they have to. So it's reminding them, like, hey, well, remember how we talked about that maybe there's a way to work it in the numbers. So let me send.
Or maybe we can offer a little bit more.
So let me send, before we schedule a showing, since we know they're not gonna be paying, right? That's what they said so far. Let's go ahead and send this listing information to our lender, and let's review numbers with them. Can we make it work so that you're not spending more of your savings than you want to?
Yeah, I think still it comes back to, listen, let's explore this.
This is not the reality. Let me tell you, this weekend I showed the houses. None of the broker, listing agent, they call me, they respond my text message. I showed them the property. My buyer said, we can figure it out the number. I told them I need to get paid. Either they're gonna pay it or you're gonna pay it. They said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And none of the listing agent respond my text message. Call.
Yeah, you think you couldn't get a hold of him before? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's it. Okay.
That's the presentation. I think we can explain it. We can do maybe one transaction because you don't know if they're gonna like the house or not.
Right.
You don't know if they're gonna.
Yeah. But I think you do still have to have that. All right, listen, here's what could happen. They could pay full, great. Actually, it's probably in the explanation right here. They could pay half or none.
Partial, not half.
They could pay, yes, partial, that's better language. They could play partial or they could do none, and then in that scenario, we can figure it out. But a worst case scenario is you love it, there's no options with the lender, we can't get them to accept a higher offer, and then we're stuck. That could happen. It's probably the less likely scenario based off of me being creative with the lender or me being creative with the seller. So I believe strongly I can work something out. But I want you to know, like, if they don't, then in a worst case scenario, then that would be the final position you'd be in. Okay, we're Joe.
Well, I just wanted to say, whenever we're writing above asking, we have to make sure we look at the comps first, because I've attempted to do that a few times, and even with the comps, the selling agent or the listing agent was hesitant to allow that exception
Sure.
because they were worried about the appraisal. And so and then they asked for an appraisal waiver, and then that puts my clients in a bind again.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful before we even consider over asking.
I agree.
Or sending it to the lender, that it's gonna fall in line.
Communication. Look at the comms conversation with the listing agent. Huh?
It's a lot of conversation.
There was a great comment over here about sellers wanting to know their bottom line and the net sheet and things like that. I think on the buyer side conversation, explaining to them cash to close is going to be another big value add for them.
Yeah.
And understanding that.
But that starts day one, like on the first appointment.
So that's in the appointment when you're and on my thing where I have an opportunity to talk about money, that's where I'm going to talk about that and dump in that. All right, last question, then we're done. Tell me your name. I don't know your name. You snuck in here.
DJ.
DJ. All right, DJ. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir. Quick question on the MLS. And I'm just combing through it. I see in the seller contributions section, there's either yes or there's nothing there. I'm assuming the nothing there listing agents haven't updated. And yes is obviously.
In context of offering compensation,
correct.
I don't think it's applicable yet. I don't think
Well,
it's.
The field is
It's
there.
there.
I know it's there, but there's certainly not continuity amongst everybody in regards to that yes be meaning compensation.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's where your head is.
Well, I'm just, going through the properties.
Not necessarily, but we're talking about how that's an opportunity to communicate that without communicating that. So there's going to be to be continued on how everything plays out. So I would not rely on that. Okay, was this helpful? Yes. Okay, was this a good conversation? Do you feel a little bit more comfortable as far as like beginning to have a look? That's why the scripts are important, right? Not for you guys to follow scripts, but you need some sort of structure. Like some of you guys are already having really good structures with your conversations already. This is another structure for us to consider, and then be prepared, because when you're prepared, then that's where you have more confidence. Then that's when you can be more comfortable to scoot your chair in and go, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because there's a lot of people out there who don't have that, who are right now looking for business, and people are going to be running from them because they're not responding confidently, because they don't have good information. All right, this is the beginning. Maybe we do this again next week. Yeah.